Hi there, I'm Eitan, and welcome back to the Wix Wiz. Have you ever been using the Wix CMS collections and connecting it to elements on your site through a dataset or using dynamic pages, and wondering why the order of the items on the site is not the same as the order in the CMS? Well, if this has been your problem, then you're in luck because Wix has recently added this new Mirror on Site button, which will help you reflect the order of the items in the CMS collection on your site. So if you want to learn how to do all that and more, let's get started. So I was recently working on the new Velo course, and as I was working inside the CMS, I noticed this new button right over here, Mirror on Site. And since I'm in Wix very, very often, and I haven't noticed it until now, it must be quite new. So I'm gonna put it at the past like maybe week or two, I'm guessing, unless I'm really out of it and just completely missed it. And this button actually allows you to do something that I've seen a lot of people requesting before, and that is to mirror the order of the items that you have in the CMS from the order that they are in the CMS to your website. And this happens often because people are adding the items in a certain order, and then they're moving them around here within the CMS. And then when they connect it to data on the website, they don't really understand why the order doesn't reflect on the website, and they really just want the order of the items to be corresponding to what they have in the CMS. And in the past, you might have to do this by adding, let's say, like a number field, and then going ahead and adding in, let's say something to manually order out the items. Like I'll say this one's 2, and this one should be 3, and then this one should be 4. And then you could, let's say, sort in the data set by that number field. But that can get kind of cumbersome because like as you're adding new things and you want to, let's say, move an item to the middle, so then you'd have to shift all the numbers and it really becomes a little convoluted. So now we have this really cool Mirror on Site button, and I want to show you how it works. So here I have a very simple repeater that I set up, and inside of the repeater I have a text element. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to connect this repeater to data. So let me just click right over here, connect to CMS, and I'm going to go ahead and add in a data set, and we're going to choose the example data set, the example collection that I was just showing you. So I'm going to go ahead and click create, and I'm going to link up between these name elements, these text elements called name, and I'm going to link those to the CMS as well. And here I'm going to connect the text to the title, which is where I put the names of the different people. And now you can see that it says Pam, Oscar, Jane, Mary, Bob, and you can see that this is already not reflecting what we had in the CMS because it's upside down. Okay, and this is something that you might be able to solve by like changing the sort order. So like if I go over here and then I go into dataset settings right over here, and I go down and I find here sort. So you can see here it's date created, new, old. So if I flip that around and changed it to, let's say, old, new, then that would flip the order, but that wouldn't really solve a case where I kind of insert my items not in a chronological order, so like of how I want them represented on the site. So that doesn't really solve all of our situations. So let's say I want to switch this out. I want Jane to be number 1 here in this list, and then Oscar, and then Pam, Mary, Bob. Okay, so like we want to move Jane up to the top. So in order to do that, we're going to use the Mirror on Site button. So now I'm going to head back into the CMS. I'm just going to click right over here and go to my collections and find that example collection that we had open before. And now we're going to finally use this very handy dandy Mirror on Site button. Before I do, I'm going to go ahead over here and I'm going to create a new view that's going to be the view just for my view on site. So I'm going to have a specific view. If you're not familiar with views, it's basically different, filters that you can set for your collection and ways of viewing the items so that you can kind of flip between them easily and, manage your CMS collections in a more user-friendly way. And I'm going to create a new view essentially that's going to be dedicated just to the one that's being mirrored on the site. So I'm going to go ahead and click New View, and I'll call this one Mirror. Okay, and you can see here that I've just switched here to this view. And what I'm going to do now is go here and click Mirror on Site. And you can see here that we have this toggle, and as soon as I toggle it on, then we can see here that the mirror settings have been saved. And you can see this blue button has been, sorry, not blue button, but this little blue dot has been added here to indicate that this view is being reflected on the site. So now what we can do is I can go ahead and I can use these little grabbing handles here on the side that look like just a bunch of dots right over here. And I can essentially reorder my items inside of the collection. So what do we say? Who do we want on top? I don't know, maybe Jane. So we'll have Jane, Pam, Oscar, Mary, Bob. That looks good. Okay, we change the order. And if I flip here between the default view and the mirror view, you can see that the order is different. Okay, and this mirror view is the one that's going to be reflected on the site. So let's go ahead and check out the site now. So I'm going to go and close this right up here. And I'm going to go into preview mode, okay, because remember this is just the editor, so it's not necessarily reflecting the actual display that we're going to see. So I'm going to go up here into preview mode. And now you can see here that Jane is up here on top. So Jane, Pam, Oscar, Mary, Bob. Okay, so essentially this is reflecting the order that I put in my collection. So now we have a super easy way to do that. One thing to note is that if you put another sort on this data set. So as I showed you before here, you can kind of add your own sorting, and you can see that now it says here that the collection mirroring is on. Okay, but if I was to add a different sort, that would cancel the mirroring. So you'll just have to note that when you're connecting to data sets that you can choose one or the other. The next thing I want to do is check and see if this is also true with regard to when we're using Wix Data Query. And this is something that is not referenced in the current documentation for this collection mirroring. My intuition tells me that it won't be reflected, so we will still get everything back in the order of date, maybe old to new, so like how the data set was originally set up, but let's hop in and try it out and see what happens. Okay, so here I am in the page IDE, and let me just go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. And we're going to be doing a very basic data query, so I'm just going to go ahead and import Wix data. And here I'm going to get rid of all this because we don't need it. And right under here, I'm going to build a new function. And this is going to be an asynchronous function because we're doing a data query. If I can write the word async and function, and let's call this get examples. Examples. Awesome. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running the query. So I'll say const query result equals to await Wix data dot query. And we're going to be querying the examples. Now I just want to double check the name of the collection. So let me go right over here. And if I go here to databases, then here I can see that I called it example and not examples. So that would have been, yeah, it would have been a small bug, not a big deal. But let me just go ahead and paste that right there as it is written. And I'm going to run find. Okay, and then here we can say console.log, and we'll log the items. So we'll have the query result.items. And then we can essentially see what order these items come back in, and then that will check the theory, or not the theory, but it will check if we're actually mirroring the order in this query. And I'm just going to call this right over here. So get examples, so it'll run as soon as the page loads. Great, so we're done writing that code, and now I'm going to go ahead into preview mode. And there we go. So here we have the items returned, and I'm going to open them up. And here we have Pam first. Okay, and then we have Oscar. Okay, so it's not being reflected inside of our data query. So that's an important thing to note, that even though you change the order and you put mirroring on, when you are using Wix code, it is not going to be reflected. Only when you are using the datasets or Wix's no-code solution for connecting data to your site elements. I'm going to wrap up here. I hope you found this informative and helpful. I thought it was really cool because I have been hearing a lot of people who have been struggling with this. And if you didn't really know how to use code before that, then it would have been a real challenge to do it like that. But now I think that Wix has created this pretty nifty solution. So let me know if you check it out. Leave a comment if you found this helpful. Don't forget to like the video, and if you want to see more videos like this every week, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I hope to see you this Thursday on our live stream where we're going to be building a web app on Wix Studio. We're going to be building this cool weather app with a third-party API. So if you want to come and build along together, then I hope to see you this Thursday, and that is May 16th at 10 a.m. EST New York time. So I hope to see you there, and see you Thursday.